I'm Joan Cartan-Hansen. Thank you for joining with us. Dialogue Web Extra. We're continuing our conversation with two editorial vigilantes, two of the state's best editorial writers, Kevin Richert here in Boise, Corey Taule in Pocatello, and also joining me is Idaho Reports host Greg Hahn. Thanks, gentlemen, for being here. I appreciate it. In this Web Extra, I wanted to take this to talk a little bit about journalism as a profession and its ethics. Presidential candidate Newt Gingrich recently went on the attack, saying after the media had reported his ex-wife had said he wanted an open marriage, and his response to it was that this was the media. Basically, he attacked the media. The New York Times came back, fired back with an editorial saying, "That's our job. If you don't like it, that's the way it is." How do you view the job as an editorial writer? And I'll kick it to both of you. How do you view your job in terms of covering politicians and their personal lives and their professional lives?
I think our job in terms of dealing with politicians and their personal life is we have to view it objectively and in a tough, fair way in terms of how it affects their public service. I mean, we had to deal with this a few years ago with Larry Craig. And it's a difficult line to draw here. But what you have to do is you have to look at, what is the personal behavior and how does it intersect with their public service? With Senator Craig, it was a matter that he had pleaded guilty to a crime in Minnesota, so that obviously drove the story to a larger degree. But a lot of it, also is. I'm sorry, Newt Gingrich. I can't have a whole lot of sympathy for Newt Gingrich going on the attack and blaming the messenger on this.
I'm pretty sure there was a president a few years back that Newt Gingrich was quite clear that he thought there was a connection between your person.
Yeah, I seem to recall that as well, and I guess
I'm
that's the point.
not going to name any names, Schmitten.
Politicians love editorial pages when we're beating up the other guy, but when we start beating up them, then we're vigilantes are a whole lot worse. I mean, it's come on, we're trying to call it as we see it, and we'll lay out the criticism or the compliments as we see fit. But crying foul about that. Sorry, I'm not buying.
Well, let's get Corey in on this. What do you think, Corey?
I just think the job is to tell the truth, as as you see it, and don't pull punches, and give the other guy a chance to respond if he wants. It's not rocket science, and it's not real complicated. And as far as the personal stuff, I think Kevin hit it exactly right. If it's going to affect your public life, and certainly Gingrich, I can't remember the guy's name who was asking the question, but he had a golden opportunity there to come right back, because there's a lot to talk about there. And frankly, if you want to run in a Republican primary and bill yourself as the conservative, and you've got that baggage you're carrying around, you're going to have to address it. And it was just, but Gingrich is good. He's quick on his feet, and he kind of threw that guy off, and it worked for him. But it's absolutely a fair topic, and as Kevin pointed out, the Larry Craig stuff was absolutely a fair topic. John McGee stuff, fair topic. These guys didn't come into this not knowing what could happen. They're in a spotlight. They're making decisions that impact lives, and if they get a story in their personal life, then it's going to be out there, and it's going to be talked about, and they know it going in. So, like Kevin said, I don't have a ton of sympathy. Frankly, if he or I got drunk and banged a car up, it'd probably make the papers too. So
And I think some readers bring into this the assumption that we enjoy writing about a politician's personal life or a politician's personal fall. The John McGee saga is not an easy thing to write about. It's not an easy thing to report about. It's not an easy thing to editorialize about. You cover a politician over a course of years. Senator McGee, I've talked to on a number of occasions over the years. I've found him over the years to be a pretty good interview. He's somebody who'll tell you what he thinks about issues, and he'll be pretty articulate about it. Media friendly almost to a fault until this episode. It's not easy to write about these things. It's not something we wake up in the morning and say, wow, we can we can criticize somebody's personal fall, because we're all humans too. If one of us had something like that happen, it would be out there in the public eye to some degree as well.
And I think it is incumbent a little bit on the press to say, to do what Kevin's doing. This is why we make these decisions, because I do think there are, if regular folks thinking about getting involved, they don't want to do that. Plus, now with the internet and Twitter and Facebook and story comments, I mean, you can have people going after you for being in a car crash, let alone for running for office. So it is a barrier now, knowing that information is there and it gets out there right away, and it kind of hangs out there longer than maybe it did when it was in the newspaper and gone, or on TV and gone. But the more open I think that the media can be about why, in this case this is here, in this case this is here, because there are moments that things come up. You can hear things and you do pursue it or you don't pursue it. I mean, again, the Larry Craig is the one that I lived through the most,
right.
as a reporter and then an editor through that process, and it was devastating to some of the. I mean, it was, people had known Larry. I mean, had known him for years. Same with McGee. Same with Helen Chen. I mean, there are people all the way. Every time you name the scandal that was written about, it was hard on the reporter who was doing it, for sure, and the editor who had to kind of try to make sure, are we doing the right thing or are we not doing the right thing here and going forward, and those are tough decisions.
The short version of the Larry Craig story, just to recap it, Dan Poppe had looked into this story for months and had done exhaustive reporting and exhaustive research, and at the end of it, a couple of months before the arrest, our editors determined we don't know enough. It's not clear what we have here, so we don't have a story. So we didn't write a story until word came down that he had been arrested and had pleaded guilty to a crime that was, had a lot of parallels to what Dan had been trying to report about. So it wasn't something that we did a rush to judgment about. And then after this happened, and national media started to descend upon the story, the question that we kept getting asked was, well, how did it feel to get beat, or how, or why did it take you guys so long to get on the story? And I think because we were diligent, and because I think we made the right call at the time to not write a story about it, we were being criticized for holding back. I mean, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't on the news side and on the opinion pages.
And I think the industry made a nice little nod to that. The finalist for the Pulitzer Prize didn't have to be on the list. Didn't actually get it, but hey, cute job, guys. Way to do the right thing. So that was
that Pulitzer Prize nomination is not bad for your resume. Well, gentlemen, we've run out of time. I appreciate my editorial vigilantes joining us. They're Corey there in Pocatello, and Kevin here, and my colleague. I appreciate you joining me too. Thank you very much, Greg. And thank you for joining us for this Dialogue Web Extra.